Cadillac, the standard of the world. With its long history and heritage in the automotive world, dating back as far as the early 1900s, this well-established American car brand has become best known for being at the forefront of luxury and innovation over the course of many decades. It was the first manufacturer to use a V8 engine in a mass-produced car, not to mention creating a vast range of high-end luxury cars over the years that were up there with the very best. However, being unmistakably a luxury brand, it is naturally less known for fuel consumption and being economical. But how thirsty are actually V8 Cadillacs of the modern era, and is it in any way possible to daily drive one without breaking the bank? In this video, we're going to find out with the help of my Northstar V8 Cadillac, a 1993 Cadillac Seville STS, by taking it through a fuel economy challenge. The rules of this fuel economy challenge are quite simple. I'm going to drive my Northstar Cadillac about 250 kilometers or 155 miles on the highway, starting in the outskirts of the capital of Sweden, Stockholm, down to the province of Småland, a region of majestic forests and lakes, and the birthplace of IKEA. To make the car as fuel efficient as possible, I'm going to hypermile it, which in the context of this challenge means that I will have no passengers or excess weight in the car. I'm also going to drive at a constant speed of 80 km per hour, which is 50 miles per hour, and stick to the slower right-hand lane at all times to reduce wind resistance. The official speed limit for most Swedish highways is 110 km per hour, which is 70 miles per hour. And although there are no rules regarding how slowly you're allowed to drive, I figured going for the speed limit for towing a trailer and large trucks was the safest. In addition, I'm going to avoid unnecessary braking and hard accelerations to conserve as much momentum as possible and not expend unnecessary fuel. I'm also going to keep the windows up and use no air conditioning, but this is not exactly an issue as it does not work in the first place. To make the conditions more realistic, I'm not going to improve the aerodynamics of the car in any way, such as taping gaps along the body panels of the car to make it more streamlined. As for tire pressure, I'm going to inflate the tires according to the manufacturer's specifications, in this case 32 psi, which corresponds to 2.2 bar. Before we get started with the challenge, I want to emphasize that energy-efficient driving should always be performed in a safe and appropriate manner to avoid accidents, as it can become a dangerous practice if done improperly. It is important to always follow the flow of the traffic and not slow down unexpectedly in order to conserve fuel, especially when moving uphill, as that might surprise drivers behind you. Always brake in time and do not use dangerous hypermiling techniques such as drafting or tailgating. With that being said, on with the challenge.
Two hours later.
The hypermiling journey did not exactly start out well, with high coolant temperature on a hot summer's day, on top of missing the highway sign and getting lost in unknown territory, wasting that precious fuel. But soon enough, after relocating, I was back on track and ready to start the testing. Right after entering the on-ramp and merging onto the highway, I started to realize rather quickly that I was being overtaken by virtually everyone. Not exactly surprising, as I was hypermiling 30 km per hour below the speed limit, including this driver and this driver. This driver and my American cousin. In fact, I was even overtaken by horse trailers off camera in my 295 horsepower performance sedan. How ironic, isn't it? I will now show you a time-lapse of my highway journey so that you can experience it yourselves, being overtaken by effectively everyone on the road. 4 grueling hours of diligent hypermiling, I'd finally reached my destination without the 26-year-old Northstar Cadillac skipping a beat. Or blowing a head gasket. Let us now look at the results and what fuel economy I managed to get. I drove 228.8 kilometers after resetting the trip computer and consumed 21.3 liters of fuel, which equates to 9.3 liters per 100 kilometers, or 25.3 miles per gallon. The trip computer had an average fuel consumption reading of 9 liters per 100 kilometers, or 26 mpg. Not bad at all. My original plan was to fill it up again at a gas station to see how much fuel that had actually been used, as I started with a full tank. So I need to point out that this test is not very scientific, as I relied on my trip computer only, which is not always accurate. This is something I plan to do in future videos when hypermiling other cars to make the results more reliable. Nevertheless, this gives a general indication of what fuel economy you can expect. Also, if the range meter shows an accurate reading, it means that I would have been able to drive about 730 kilometers or 454 miles on a single tank. Seriously impressive for a V8 car, especially considering the highway section I drove on was quite hilly. For some more context to convince you how impressive this actually is, it almost has the same gas mileage as a Toyota Camry of the same age, a car that has a 2.2 liter 4-cylinder engine producing 136 horsepower. This means that the Cadillac has twice the amount of cylinders, more than twice the engine displacement and power output, yet has nearly identical fuel economy, assuming, of course, you drive on the highway and hypermile it. So okay, we have found out that the Northstar Cadillac is relatively fuel efficient on the highway, but how does it fare in the city and during mixed driving conditions? I'm afraid to report that it's not nearly as impressive based on my own experience. I consistently get around 15 liters per 100 kilometers or 16 mpg in the city, and 11.5 liters per 100 kilometers or 20.5 mpg at best with mixed driving conditions in suburbs. Not really great, but still acceptable for an engine this powerful. So this concludes the fuel economy challenge of the Northstar V8 Cadillac. What did we learn from this? In the grand scheme of things, despite the surprising results from the hypermiling challenge, it is difficult to justify the fuel economy of the Northstar Cadillac, and it is certainly not the best choice for the most frugal people. But with this being said, it can be perfectly feasible to daily drive without breaking the bank, if you do regular highway trips or live in a rural area with long stretches of road and not much traffic around. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more hypermiling videos like this one of other interesting cars, please consider liking the video and subscribing. I would also like to take a moment to thank my regular viewers and subscribers of the channel. Welcome, I hope that you will enjoy the content I have coming up next this year. I would like to wish you all a happy new year and hope that you stay safe during these difficult times. Until next time, see you soon.